Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. We give the honor to our apostles and elders, Millstone. Also say shalom to all the Akim, my dear preacher of truth in all true city. It's brother Tazim Kabar from the GMS Miami. All right, GMS Miami camp. But before I start this video, once again, we give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Give the honor to our apostles, elders, Millstone. Also say shalom to all the Akim, my dear preacher of truth in all true city. All right. And I love when this video is edified. I'm going to touch upon the true names of Heavenly Father and His Son. Start with the Heavenly Father, who they so-called call God. His true name is Yahweh, which His name means He is this. And the true name of His Son, who the world eagerly called Jesus Christ, or Jesus Christos in the Spanish, or Jesus Creed in the Haitian Creole. His true name is Yahushai. All right, which His name means He saves, delivers, with His Son, but I do it according to prophecy. And as this is going to be like a different type of video today. All right, this video is inspired of something that we do down here in GMS Miami camp. All right, we do a thing called Word of the Week. All right, inspired where a brother picks a word of the week, goes into definition, the regular definition, entomology, and a couple precepts. And Spirit has it where I chose the word of the week. It was my turn to choose the word of the week. I chose strength. And I was like, Spirit, too, because what's going around right now, or what's flowing through the Spirit is spiritual power. All right. And henceforth, I chose the word strength. And also, too, Spirit, like, let me just make a video on it. So my word of the week is strength. Okay, the quality definition, the first definition says the quality or state of being strong. Okay, you can be strong-minded, can be physically strong, spiritually strong. All right, the ability to resist being moved or broken by a force. Physically, that could go from physically, spiritually, or even to mentally. All right, if you put it in that perspective. Okay, because really, we are strong. All right, because matter of fact, I'm jumping the gun. Let me read the etymology. It says, property of being strong, bodily power, muscular force, vigor, firmness. I underlined those couple words: firmness, fortitude, manhood, violence, morally resistance. All right, I underlined these words for a reason. Let's do a quick look up on this one right quick. It says fortitude, courage. It says courage in pain or adversity. Okay, look up firmness. It goes to the quality of having a solid, almost unyielding surface or structure. Okay, let's see, moral resistance. Let's see what this goes into. We can leave it as that. So, but I put we have true strength ultimately from Yahweh side. All right, we able to endure spiritually, mentally, because He gives us that strength. Okay, all right, because we understand when we come to the truth. I said in Sirach chapter 2, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul. All right, because we're gonna be tried. All right, we're gonna go through all types of situations. All right, because also too, we know this is a spiritual fight before it turns into an actual physical fight, in which the Lord builds us up and strengthens us through the Spirit, in which that aligns within our mind, and then it goes on to physically. Okay, the Lord gives us a firm mind. All right, the Lord allows us to have fortitude and more resistance, especially to have strength against the lust of the world. All right, these worldly things, we left because we wanted to seek Yahweh Shemashai. So all forms of ways in life, the Lord gives us a form of strength. Okay, and soon, eventually, the Lord is going to turn that up to more of a physical and spiritual sense. All right, when the Lord, shall live up that standard. All right, when Esau shall come up against us and things like that, that's a form of strength. Be able to pray and call upon a name. That's a power. Okay, to have that strong tower, that's a power. That's a tool. Okay. One of the precepts I had is Isaiah 40 verse 31. It says, "But they that wait upon me," it's just like it. Isaiah 40 verse 31. It says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. And they shall walk and not faint. Why is that? Because the Lord is going to turn us up and give us that spiritual power and allow us to do these such things. All right. How you think Esau is able to make these certain movies and certain clips and things like that, shows? Because he get inspiration from the scriptures. All right. Men having superpower, supernatural capabilities. That really stems from the scriptures. You have a forefather that had all types of capabilities of doing things, and that was all through the spirit power. The Lord renewed their strength. The Lord gave them strength. Elijah was able to call fire down. Okay, Yahushua and disciples and the apostles and men back then was able to do miracles and stuff like that. Okay, that's spiritual strength. All right, that's a form of spiritual power. All right, which we believe. All right, as we enter in this Esau wave of technocracy and him trying to come up against the men of the Lord, persecution, times of perilous times, the Lord is gonna have to renew our strength. All right, we're gonna have to fly. Right, we're gonna have to be able to protect ourselves through the spirit by spiritual power. The Lord is gonna have to intervene. All right, the Lord intervened, we would have been consumed. All right. It says Isaiah 41 verse 10, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of the righteousness. And the Lord is saying, all right, don't worry. All right, one of my favorite precepts is John chapter 14 verse 1. All right, goes, so don't let your heart be troubled. Trust in the Most High and also in me. All right, but it was Yahushua speaking in that sense. All right, trust in the Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua. All right, ultimately is what it's saying. And the Lord is going to, shoot forth that power, shoot forth that strength. But you just got to wait upon him and be of good courage. Wait upon him, trust in him, continue what you got to do. And the Lord is going to, help you within your battles, whether it be spiritually, whether it be physically, or whether it be mentally. Okay, and which we already have a glimpse of that because the Lord already been giving us that strength to endure the things that we're going through right now, whether it be spiritual, mental, physical, financial, all types of situations. The Lord has been giving us that strength to endure. All right, really, that's where we get our power and strength from. All right, as these people in the world right now, where they're losing their minds, they're going insane, they're not knowing how to make ends meet. All right, they're losing. All right, that sound, they losing that sound mind, and they're losing that capability to keep pushing. But through the Spirit, us mentally, Yahweh, all right, we're able to keep moving. The last precept I had is Psalms 31 verse 24. It's be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. All you that hope in the Lord, and which you understand, the heart usually sometimes go into the mind. Most of the time, it goes into the mind. So, all right, we got to be of good courage. You're saying everything, give thanks. Understand we're going through a certain situation for a reason. The Lord is ultimately trying to, all right, have us learn something from the situation we may go through, or he's just trying to do his marvelous work. All right, the Lord is in the heaven, he do whatever so he pleases. So he's doing this or whatever, he's doing this for a great cause. Okay, so we got to be of good courage, and he shall strengthen our heart. And also being of good courage is a form of faith. All right. Hold on. It's a form of faith because we understand that the Lord is, putting us in a position, and we ought to believe that he's going to get us out of here. If we continue that mindset and that motive, okay, having that moral resistance against the doubt, the flesh, bad thinking, okay, the Lord is going to continue strengthening us. i.e. that hope in the Lord, all right, hope, expectation goes hand in hand. So we have to have a positive mind, although it's kind of like, damn, how can I have a positive mind and all these things going on? If you're a man of the Lord and you believe and have that hope and faith, you're going to have a positive mind, because also too, we also have the said treasure that comforts us. That's how we're able to have a positive mind. And also too, the Lord do show us miracles and do things for us already. That's how we're able to have a positive mind. It's not like we just fighting just a fight. Okay, the Lord has been keeping us. He been keeping us. All right, we're all walking testimonies through the Spirit. He brought us out of the darkness to this marvelous light. Okay, so we have to continue. Okay, continue to have that good courage, and he will, continue giving us strength. And it's just going to increase from, to the coming of Yahweh Shai, right? It's level to this. Right? The Lord is doing, his things right now. It's just going to increase and intensify. Same way how Esau is going to increase and intensify these certain things that he's going to try to do upon the earth and try to come against the men of the Lord. The Lord's going to intensify those miracles and that strength. All right. So low will is edifying. Give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakadash. Give double honors to our apostles, the elders, great millstone. I'll just say shalom to our Akim out there. The truth and our true city. What's that? Shalom.